Welcome to the Rosary Team Podcast.
We're so glad you're with us today.
We are embarking on a deep dive into an image that is, well, it's so ancient, so central to the faith of millions, and so scarred by history that it really defies a simple description.
It does. We're talking about Our Lady of Czestochowa, known all over the world as Poland's Black Madonna.
And the sources we have for this are just incredible. We're essentially tracking a single piece of sacred art across almost 2,000 years.
Yeah, we've got everything from its legendary origins to its huge role in European history, centuries of spiritual warfare, and its connection to modern saints and popes. It's a massive story.
So our mission today is to unpack the meaning behind this icon. Why has this one image become, the spiritual heartbeat of an entire nation?
And maybe more importantly, why do the physical wounds on it, the actual scars, hold such a powerful message of hope for you today?
We'll be using traditional beliefs, historical records, and theological insights to really show why the Black Madonna isn't just art. It's a living relic.
A true testament to the power of Marian intercession.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's start at the foundation, the image itself. When you stand before it, the artistry is it's captivating.
It has a real presence. It's painted on 3 linden boards, and it's big, nearly 4 feet high.
But it's the posture of Mary and Jesus that really speaks volumes.
Right. The technical term for this style is Hodegetria,
Which is Greek for
she who shows the way. And that's exactly what she's doing. She's holding Jesus in her left arm, but her right hand is deliberately pointing right at him.
it's a clear visual sermon. She's guiding you, the viewer, toward Jesus, the only Savior.
I also find the depiction of Jesus so interesting. He isn't painted like a typical baby. He looks almost like a miniature man.
Yes. Why is that?
That's completely intentional in this kind of iconography. It's there to remind the faithful that he is fully mature in his divine nature, his wisdom, his saving mission. It was all there, even from the beginning. He's the eternal Son.
Now we get to the origin story, which
Sure.
is, well, it's incredible. It takes this from just an ancient painting to a primary relic of the church.
The tradition holds that the original icon was painted by St. Luke the Evangelist.
Which is an astounding claim on its own. But the story gets even deeper. The sources say he didn't use a normal canvas.
No, he used a wooden tabletop from the home of St. John the Apostle in Jerusalem. And that table was believed to have been made by St. Joseph or maybe even Jesus himself.
So if that tradition is true, we are talking about wood that literally dates back to the time of Christ.
Exactly. Outside of the Shroud of Turin, it's arguably the greatest physical relic we possess. That gives it an authority very few other images have.
And it also offers this beautiful explanation for why Luke's gospel is so rich with details about Mary's life, the Annunciation, the Visitation.
The thinking is that as Luke was painting her portrait, Mary was literally telling him the story of her son's life.
We even have a record from the Roman writer Nisphar, who said that Mary herself saw the painting and impressed into it the pleasing expression of her countenance.
So she didn't just pose, she confirmed it. She gave it her blessing.
And this relic, it gained status very quickly. We know that in the early 300s, St. Helen Constantine's mother, she found the portrait.
And she housed it in a magnificent shrine in Constantinople. And right away, its protective power became legendary.
Right. During a crucial battle with the Sirens, a major threat at the time, the sources say the portrait was displayed from the city walls.
And Constantinople was saved. A miraculous victory. The image was credited with protecting the most important city in Christendom.
So by the time it even starts its journey west, it already has this incredible reputation, both military and spiritual.
And that journey brings us to the famous title, the Black Madonna. It's a question a lot of people have. Why is she black?
The sources are very clear this isn't about race or culture, it's purely environmental.
It's actually a beautiful explanation. The dark tone comes from centuries of soot and smoke. Just imagine all the devotional candles and votive lights burning in front of it for hundreds of years.
It created this patina, this layer that darkened the skin tones. And when it was later restored, the artists made a choice.
They did. They recognized that the dark tone was part of the image's identity now. It was a testament to centuries of prayer, so they kept it.
And in 1382, this incredible relic finally comes to Poland. Prince Ladislas Opolsek brings the icon and entrusts it to the monks of St. Paul I Hermit.
The Pauline Fathers, and this is really where its documented history in Poland begins.
The story of its arrival is fascinating. During the transfer, the wagon carrying the icon reaches this hill called Czestochowa, and the horses just stop.
They refused to move. No amount of urging could get them to go forward.
So Prince Ladislas takes this as a divine sign.
He does. The icon was meant to stay right there on Jasna Gora, the Mount of Light. And that's where the monastery and shrine were built.
But this sanctuary soon became a battlefield. This brings us to the most defining part of the icon, the scars.
In 1430, heretics known as the Hussites, who were violently against venerating images, they stormed the monastery.
A truly devastating attack. They plundered the monastery, and when they couldn't move the enormous painting, they just threw it on the ground.
The ultimate act of desecration. And then one of the attackers, he struck the face with his sword. The sources are incredibly specific about the damage.
What exactly did he do?
He left 2 distinct parallel scars on the Blessed Mother's right cheek. There's also a 3rd scratch across the nose line, and then 6 cuts on her neck, 2 of which are still very visible today.
This wasn't just random damage. This was a hateful, intentional assault.
And the sources say there was an immediate divine retribution.
Right. When the attacker tried to strike it a 3rd time?
He was struck down by a bolt of lightning, killed on the spot. The other attackers fled in terror, leaving the image starred and covered in mud.
The scattered monks return, and they are just heartbroken. They're crying out to God, and they need to clean the sacred image, but there's no water nearby.
And that's when the next miracle happens. In that moment of complete despair, a spring of crystal clear water just pops up from the ground right there.
Wow.
They were able to wash the picture clean and bring it back to Jasna Gora.
It's amazing. Even after they tried to repair the damage, to paint over the gashes, the sources say the scars kept reappearing.
They became a permanent visible mark of the suffering, and by extension, she endured.
And that physical trauma, those wounds, transformed the image from a piece of art into something so much more. It's a beacon of hope.
Here's where it gets really interesting, how an image that literally carries the scars of history becomes a lighthouse of hope.
And speaking of that resilience, we know many people bring these powerful images into their homes for strength as a reminder of that faith.
That's absolutely true. For those of you who want to bring sacred art like the Madonna of Czestochowa or other inspiring images into your home, we encourage you to visit rosaryteam.com.
There you can find Czestochowa art, wood icon plaques, ceramic tile icons, and other timeless masterpieces to honor Our Lady and other saints.
And that idea of visible wounds leading to profound hope is exactly what we see applied to the entire Polish nation.
Which brings us to a critical moment in history, the Swedish invasion in the mid-1600s. Poland was being completely overrun. It seemed like the country was lost.
In 1655, the Swedish army laid siege to the shrine of Jasna Gora. They expected a quick surrender.
But under the heroic leadership of the prior, Father Augustine Kordecki, this small group of monks and soldiers did the impossible.
They withstood a 40-day siege. 40 days against one of the most powerful armies in Europe.
It was a shocking victory that boosted Polish morale and completely turned the tide of the war. It became a holy war.
And this led directly to a national consecration. The next year, King Jan Casimir proclaimed the Mother of God the Queen of the Polish Crown.
Jasna Gora became the spiritual capital of Poland, and faith and patriotism fused into that rallying cry for faith and fatherland.
And that spiritual protection just keeps going. Let's jump forward to 1920, the miracle at the Vistula.
Right, the Polish-Soviet War. The Russian army is about to invade Warsaw. The fate of Europe is on the line.
The communist forces are on the banks of the Vistula, ready to attack. But the traditional account says an image of the Virgin Mary, Our Lady of Czestochowa, was seen in the clouds over the city.
And the effect on the invaders.
The Russian troops withdrew. Their commanders reported being blocked by some kind of unexplainable spiritual force. They simply couldn't advance. They abandoned the assault.
It saved Poland from being consumed by communism right at the start of the 20th century.
That idea of a spiritual force blocking an attacker, it's a theme we see over and over. You mentioned the story linked to Ted Bundy.
Yeah, it's chilling. He went on a rampage in a sorority house, but one girl survived. He later told police that when he went into her room, he just couldn't approach her. He said there was an invisible wall he couldn't break through.
And that girl was found by police still clutching her rosary. It's a profound parallel. Whether it's protecting one person or an entire city, Mary's intercession is this insurmountable spiritual barrier.
Which connects so perfectly to the icon's modern significance, especially with Pope John Paul II.
A native son of Poland, his devotion to the Black Madonna was absolutely central to his entire life.
It was deeply personal for him. He said that his papal motto, Totus Tuus,
I am all yours,
was a phrase he had whispered in prayer hundreds, maybe thousands of times, right there before that image. It was the foundation of his entire life.
And then after the defeat of communism, which Poland largely credits to the prayers before this icon, John Paul II, gave this incredible gift.
He held the very first World Youth Day in Czestochowa in 1991.
Can you imagine the power of that moment? Bringing millions of young people from all over the world, especially those who had been trapped behind the Iron Curtain, to this spiritual capital. It was a massive statement of freedom and faith.
And that symbolism of suffering and survival, it continues. The scars on the image are seen as a direct parallel to the Polish people themselves, battered but never destroyed.
This extends to very personal suffering, too. Our Lady of Czestochowa has become known as the patroness of women scarred by abortion.
That's a very specific connection. How do the sources link the icon's wounds to that kind of emotional pain?
It's an analysis of Mary's role as the sorrowful mother. Just as she grieved the loss of her child through sin, his passion, she is believed to understand the unique pain of mothers who have lost a child through the sin of abortion.
So the parallel is that the physical scars on the icon's face mirror the emotional scars that remain, the grief that persists, even when women are told to just forget.
Exactly. Mary, with her scarred face, she doesn't look away from that pain. The image says, I have been wounded too, but I am still here, and I am still pointing you toward healing.
That link to mercy is cemented by its connection to Saint Faustina.
It is. Saint Faustina visited Czestochowa on her way to the convent where she would receive the Divine Mercy message. She entrusted her vows to Mary before the Black Madonna.
And she wrote in her diary.
Number 260, yes.
Yeah.
She wrote that the Mother of God did not refuse any of my requests.
Wow. If Mary granted every request of the messenger of divine mercy, her intercession is boundless for us too.
And there's one last historical detail about protection that we have to touch on. Protection against disease.
We're talking about the plagues of the Middle Ages, the 1600s, which were just devastating.
Right. Cities all around were being ravaged, depopulated. But the historical documentation notes that the city of Czestochowa itself, and everyone at Jasna monks, soldiers, lay people, they were all miraculously spared from contamination.
It was like a safe island in a sea of disease.
The people at the time, 400 years ago, they believed their safety was due to the direct intervention of the Blessed Mother. It was even said that anyone who willfully ignored the Black Madonna became a victim of the plague.
That's the enduring power of this icon, isn't it? It embodies all of it. Protection, identity, healing, resilience. Her face is torn, but she doesn't look away from us, and her hand never stops pointing to Jesus.
It's a constant reminder that no matter how deep the wound, we are fighting a battle that mercy will win.
When you put the whole story together, from St. Luke painting it to the 40-day siege to a modern pope's devotion, it proves that even deep historical wounds, those visible scars, can be embraced as signs of compassion and strength.
And that story of the monks defending the image for 40 days, it really raises a question for us, doesn't it? What sacred things in your life, your faith, your family, are you willing to defend with that same level of dedication?
We hope this deep dive into Our Lady of Czestochowa has inspired you and deepened your appreciation for the role of sacred art in our faith.
And if you're looking to explore the world of sacred art, including images of the Black Madonna, wood icon plaques, and other beautiful pieces for your home, please visit rosaryteam.com.
Thank you for listening to the Rosary Team Podcast.